want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
The following is a Joel Michalec production. On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. She asked him to leave because he wouldn't listen to the Joel Michalec Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joel Michalec Show. I welcome you in through the gateway that you made it here through, which is obviously through the power of the internet. And I am sitting here across the news desk, or sometimes it's the dinner desk, from the lovely Sharen. Hi, Sharen. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome.
Well, welcome to you, too.
Welcome to me, too. And welcome to all of you for joining us. The website for the show is... The website for the show, I'm like focusing on what you're doing there.
No,
and
don't
then
focus
apparently
on
I can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. I
well,
thought I could.
we always knew that.
No, I thought that I could, but I guess I can't.
No, sir.
The website is jmtalk.net, and stop there and, of course, subscribe to the podcast on all of your favorite mediums. And also the 24/7 stream, which will keep you busy with us in between from Sunday to Sunday. New episodes drop on Sundays. And so, also, I always forget to do this. Social media, at Facebook, it's JM Talk, and at Twitter, it's at JM Talk Radio. And
right.
you have a Twitter. We still haven't gotten this figured out.
I know. Well, it's...
You actually have 7,000 or 8,000 Twitter handles. Because
You know what it is? All right. I get a Twitter account, and then, like, years later, I'm like, oh, I want a Twitter account. So I forget the one that I signed up with, so I get a new one.
Right.
7 times.
And then, yeah, you recently got a new one, and I said, okay, I'll just, because you didn't give me the name of it yet, and I said, well, I'll just search it.
Yes, I did.
Well, you did, but then I searched your name, and then, of course, on Twitter, there's like 7 or 8 of you.
Right. So I only do, hold on.
Yeah, do you have it handy? You actually have the app? Are you using it? Have you said anything yet?
No.
Like, hey, you should check out our great show.
I said that.
At JM Talk Radio.
Sure.
You didn't, because I would have gotten a notification that you tagged the show in a tweet.
Okay, so...
I'm going to teach you how to do this yet.
Well, you would think I'd know.
You do know, because the first one you set up when you were a student in college so many moons ago, you were tweeting about how your homework was giving you a headache.
Right. But then all that stuff I learned, right, pushed that Twitter information out to make room.
You only have so much room in your suitcase up there?
Yes, there's only so much room.
Wow.
Oh, man.
What? What is it? You forgot it?
No. I just came to the end of the internet.
You've reached the end of the internet.
I've reached the end. What do I do?
Can you buy more tokens?
I can. Hold on.
All right, so while she's looking for her Twitter handle, do you have your Twitter handle?
It's either...
Isn't it like at Michalec _Sharen?
That might be one of them.
Who puts
the other one is...
Who puts an underscore in their handle on Twitter?
I didn't. But at the time, all right, let me see.
Listen, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Before you get too busy with that Twitter handle,
Okay.
you can change your Twitter handle.
To?
Well, I think it should be Lovely Sharen, at Lovely Sharen. If it's not already taken, I mean, you can't take someone else's Twitter handle.
Why not?
Well, if you want to go beat them up, then I guess you can.
I want to.
What I'm saying is, you could change it to something without an
It's
underscore.
asking for my email, which I do have.
I don't think we should get into that right now.
No? Why?
No. Anyway, so while you're typing away, while you're typing away, I want to tell the folks about my great assistant at work, because he saved my life the other day. Now, I'm telling you guys, because I'm not getting any sympathy over on this end of the microphone about my story, so maybe someone out there can relate. So I was having a really hectic day on Friday at work this week, and I actually did not even get to have my lunch break until 2 hours past lunchtime, which, because of my health, is not a good idea. And so I get back to the office and I put everything away, and I go and I throw my soup into the microwave, and I'm washing my hands. And while I'm washing my hands, there was a spider in the sink.
Oh,
Kind of ran out from behind or underneath
and
the wash
it was
rag.
this big.
It was twice the size of Molly.
Okay, all right. You know, when you're telling this story, I gotta say this. You're telling this story, and I'm mentally picturing. Do you remember that movie, Dave?
Dave?
The movie.
Dave's not here.
Okay, the movie Dave is where.
Which one is that? Is that the one?
That's the one where this guy gets pulled.
Oh, the one who did impressions of president. Okay, that
yeah.
Dave. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Dave.
So, Dave. Okay. So those of you who have seen this movie, there is a portion where he is, or there's a scene where he is in a factory. Okay. And it's got robotic arms. And he was
attached to the robotic arms, and of course the robotic arms were like 10 feet
and
wide.
He said, I once caught a fish this big. And he puts his arms out as far as he can. Okay? That's how big this spider was.
It was that big.
I'm just saying.
And because I am arachnophobic, to the very serious degree, I was fortunate enough that my assistant was right there in the kitchen in our suite it's all one big open area.
Right.
And he was able to get rid of the spider for me.
Thank goodness, huh?
Listen, he said it had markings on it. It was poisonous. So.
Okay, so.
So what? I'm just trying to relay the fact that I'm extremely appreciative of him for saving my life.
Absolutely.
I could have been killed or even worse by this thing.
Right?
It had 17 legs on it, Sharen.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And listen, don't even get me started about the bugs out in that shed
that
I worked on today.
Yeah, you worked.
I looked like I had the brush.
Okay,
I had the wood brush, and I looked like a swordsman from the old days. Whoa! I was killing everything that came anywhere near me.
Everybody, please, help me. I ask, and Joel is a typical man, very typical man.
Meaning? What does that mean?
When you ask your man to do something for you, it takes him 6 months or more.
And I don't need a reminder every 4 months.
Right. So, the toolbox that he's talking about it's one of those big ones, you know.
Mechanics toolbox, yeah.
Yeah.
Us men don't know what you mean if you just say mechanics toolbox.
Okay, whatever. So, so he finally decides today to take it out of my dining room. Thank God.
You didn't like your Craftsman's brake front in the dining room?
No, I sure didn't. It was taking up space.
It was a tea cart.
No, it wasn't. So it was just something else to hold stuff.
It was holding stuff very well.
It was, I know, and we kept piling stuff on top of it. And I can't, I can't stand it. So I'm very happy that you finally got it out.
I told
Finally.
you. I don't need a reminder every 4 months. I will get it done.
Well,
So anyway, so getting back to my thing, so a big shout out, thanks to my assistant at work for saving my life.
yeah.
On Friday of this week.
Why are you talking to me like that?
Anyway.
I'm actually... He was talking to me like that because I'm going through my notes on my phone.
So this week was obviously 18 years since 9/11, and so I guess I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes I think people forget. Like I know the cliche phrase "never forget," but like anything else in our lives, we'll forget these things. And
maybe not forget is not the appropriate word, because we would never forget that, never.
Right.
But maybe it's pushed to a corner in your mind.
Right. Because other things happen, other things come up, and other things, life happens. Yeah, this
you
is
need
the second
to
time.
stop it.
The second time in like 2 days. Second time in as many days. Knock it off.
Okay, so we do that all the time, though.
Yeah.
We really do.
It is something we do. So, just remember those that are still going through it. There's we lost a lot of people, and there's still people that are going through the loss. Mm-hmm. There are still people. A lot of first responders from that day are still passing away. On a very regular basis because of cancers and other illnesses caused from all that dust and everything.
Yeah.
So, and despite what, how you hear it played out, because I sort of feel like, and I don't like to stretch into the political scene much on this program, so I won't. But I just want to teeter for a second. I just feel from some things that I've heard coming out of the mouths of one or two politicians, I do feel like that piece of our history is trying to be watered down, and I'll only say that and stop there and just ask that that you don't forget, and you should talk to your children about what happened, because these kinds of things have for some reason become norm in our society and has created such a fear, and you should talk to your children about it. But so yes, anniversary of 9/11, 18 years. I cannot even believe it's been 18 years. Can you?
No, I really, really can't.
It became our John F. Kennedy moment, I call it. I don't know what it's called, but I call it our John F. Kennedy moment, because people used to say, when I was a kid, I would hear adults talking about, oh, you know what you were doing when Kennedy was assassinated. And now we know exactly what we were doing when this stuff happened. We were shopping at Kmart. Yeah. And the place was a buzz. We were actually trying to find out what everybody was a buzz about.
Well, no, actually, the way it happened was we were watching TV, but we were on cable channels. We weren't on news channels or regular.
Right, but sometime after the girls went to school, we went to Kmart.
Right,
and that's
you're right.
Okay.
We were in the car when we found out about it, because we listened to a talk radio show.
101.5.
Right. So,
in New Jersey.
Yeah, so we heard about it, and we were going to Kmart anyway, so of course we had to pick up our flags so we can have them on our cars and in front of our house, you know. But we were stunned.
Yeah.
As I know every single person in this country was stunned.
And we had that same effect that, like, they talked about, like, after Kennedy was assassinated, and then like a couple days later when they had Oswald in custody, Oswald was shot and killed in custody, and then then that turned into like people didn't want to change channel, they didn't want to leave the TV, and I kind of feel like we were like that for like a week. We didn't want to leave. We were stuck on like CNN for a week. Yeah. Back when we used to watch CNN.
Right.
So yeah. So 18 years today. Not today, this week.
This week, right.
So also on the calendar, my cousin Bob, who, as you know, plays a certain guy in a red suit,
Right.
would like everybody on social media to know that today marks the 100 days out from Christmas.
Wow.
But you have to
Did you know, speaking of Christmas, I started my Christmas shopping in June.
Wow.
I did.
Did you know I'm going to start mine on the 21st of December?
Well, that's great because you normally start on the 24th of December.
No, I don't.
Oh,
No, I don't.
bull hockey. Yes, you do.
The 24th of December is supposed to be the one day I go nowhere, and every year, somehow, someone makes me leave this house on the 24th. That's like my day. But Cousin Bob
Right.
starts the countdown to Christmas on the 26th of December. It would be
Okay.
it would be fair to say that he gets on some people's nerves, I guess. It would also be fair to say
But
he doesn't
he
care.
enjoys it so much.
Yeah.
He really
and
does.
he's good at it. He's good at
Yeah.
it. So 100 days. It's a
Wow.
100-day marker.
100 days.
Meanwhile, we're just concerned about how long it is till Halloween, which is, like our big holiday.
Right, yeah.
You know? But yeah, he would like us, and he would like everybody to know that 100 days. So please don't get depressed by that information.
Or shoot your computer
Because
because
somebody will. I mean, some people will. It's a reminder they're probably not looking forward to.
You know, I'm going to change the subject completely. Okay? And I'm going to talk about our last week's show when we were talking about that priest.
Oh, yes.
Yes, remember? Do you remember?
I remember.
Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that.
Your duck is falling right out of your mouth.
So, I had an idea. We should. They have Harry Potter, everything,
Right.
figurines, everything, Harry Potter. What we should do is get some of this memorabilia.
And send it to him as a care package?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that what you wanted to do, and not saying that I'm going to do it because I'm a cheap ass, but
He really is.
I thought that we saw some post about some sort of light being sold on the internet that supposedly
Yes.
lights up blue in the presence of ghosts.
That was
and you
it. That was
you
it.
wanted to send that light
I
to
want to
him.
get. I do.
So he can make sure he's
I
safe.
still do.
And then he can go on social media, on like
Right.
on like facepriest.com,
Yeah.
and he can mark himself safe from ghosts because his light didn't come on.
Or we just trigger it for the light to go on all the time.
Right?
And then-
Can you imagine how frantic he would be?
I know,
Especially
right?
since he believes us, that these spells will conjure them up.
Yeah, right.
And right before the light comes on, we should have it where there's a
noise,
speaker
like-
inside of it that just starts spewing the spells from the books.
Yeah,
Says a spell, light comes on. Says a spell, light comes on.
right. And we take the on-off switch and we make it an on-on switch.
Well, listen, if a device that lights only in the presence of a ghost, and now this is my little amateur paranormal coming out, I would think it wouldn't have an on-off switch. If it was, again, now you and I both know this light is probably a bunch of hooey,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but if it
Oh,
were,
and then we send him a Ouija board.
but there shouldn't be an on-off switch on it if it's true.
Well, I mean,
And speaking of ghosts and goblins, I watched last night the first episode of The Haunting of Hill House. It's a Netflix original.
okay.
And I don't know what to say about it. I will say this. I'm watching it off a recommendation from one of my horror groups, and somebody there did say it's a good show, but please just make it through the first episode. So to me, that was them saying, look, the first episode is
Maybe a little cheesy. Yeah.
and then I saw an article yesterday that said season 2 was going to be even scarier. So I did doze off once or twice for like a moment or two. So I have to go back and watch it because the premise was interesting.
Okay. No. Everybody,
a
please.
moment or two. No, it was a moment or two. It was a moment or two.
An hour or two.
It was a moment or two. Oh look, we're out of time.
Oh,
time to go take a break.
Dang it.
Yeah, and then that way you can reset. So
okay.
So we're going to take a quick break with this message, with this honest message from your local cable provider. Be right back.
Hi, we're your local high-speed internet and cable provider. Are you looking for a fast, reliable internet connection? A large selection of your favorite HD TV channels? With 24/7 access to the best customer support technicians, all at a fair price? Fuck you. You'll take what we give you. You'll have the option of choosing from several of our completely unwarranted rip-offs, including internet speeds up to 200 times slower than Korea at twice the price, TV packages with over 500 channels, 90% of which you can't view, and we guarantee a plethora of hidden fees. Then, our barely trained technicians will come to install your services somewhere between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., knock once while you're in the shower, and promptly leave. And once we do finally get your service up and running, it'll be down and limping within 3 hours. Indefinitely. Why, you ask? Simple. We are part of what is called an oligopoly. It's like a monopoly, only legal. See, in closed-door meetings with 4 or 5 of the other major providers, we've secretly agreed not to have differing prices, allowing us to completely eliminate any competition and collectively raise our prices to optimum cockbag levels. Because we here at your local high-speed internet and cable provider don't believe in customer satisfaction. We believe in money. Pools of money. Looking for a better deal? You can oligobble down our balls. You're paying for it. Your local high-speed internet and cable provider. You won't like it, and there's no other option.
Welcome back to the program. It's the Joel Michalec Show, and I'm Joel Michalec, and I'm here with the lovely Sharen. And
oh, goodness.
We welcome you back to the program. I wanted to talk about in the first... I was going to say first season, but we don't do seasons anymore. I started doing seasons, so in the first... air quotes season of the Joel Michalec Show, I talked about, and in fact, it was one of the very first episodes about gamers. In fact, I think the title of the podcast, if you want to go back and listen, is called Gamers Gone Wrong. Well, I talked about this thing where when gamers get mad at each other, they do this thing called swatting. Like if we're playing a game online and then I get angry at you and I happen to look you up and I feel confident this is where you live, I'll call a fake police call and say stuff about you to the police to make them come to your house, like that you're barricaded in there with guns and stuff, whatever.
Wow.
The term is called swatting.
Okay.
And basically, you make a fake call that initiates a SWAT team to show up at that house.
Wow.
And so on this program last year, I talked about a group of people who were gaming, and they did a hoax phone call that led. It was an Ohio video gamer. He played a role in this group of a hoax phone call that led police to kill a man in Kansas. This kid was sentenced on Friday to 15 months in prison. So this is like a follow-up story. We talked about this before, Sharen.
Right.
You very rarely get a follow-up to stuff that you talk about,
right? Exactly.
And this was a big story for me. Mm-hmm. And as a gamer, I was just floored and angry at these people that they would do that. Like, what the hell is your problem that you get that angry at somebody that you're playing a game with?
More.
Absolutely, they do. But at this point, I'll take whatever they're going to give me. I mean,
a person died as a result.
Yes. Well, let me cover the story. Let me cover the story. They'll give some information because you'll be brought up to speed on it, and so will the listeners, okay?
Okay.
So Casey Viner, who's 19 years old, was one of 3 defendants in a case of swatting, making a false report to send police somewhere. This led Wichita police to erroneously shoot and kill 28-year-old Andrew Finch at his front door in December of 2017. Authorities said Viner asked one of the co-defendants to make the call because of an argument over an online video game. An argument that turned out not to even involve Finch.
Wow.
Viner of a Cincinnati suburb, sentenced to federal court in Wichita after pleading guilty to 1 count each of conspiracy and obstructing justice. A U.S. Attorney's Office in Kansas said. Swatting's not a prank and is in no way to resolve disputes among gamers. Totally agree. This is from Stephen McAllister. Once again, I call upon gamers to self-police their community to ensure the practice of swatting is ended once and for all. Now, I don't know how you do that in an online community. You know, you can't police each other in an online community because people are badasses when they're behind a keyboard.
Right.
So what happened was Viner admitted that he had argued with the third co-defendant, a gamer in Wichita, over a multiplayer session of Call of Duty World War II. That was scary because I had just gotten that game.
Right. Yeah.
Not too long before this story came out.
Right.
And those people are crazy on that game. Mm-hmm. Viner was upset because the Wichita gamer, a teammate of his during a session, killed his in-game character.
Wow.
During their argument, Viner threatened to swat the teammate, and the teammate responded by providing an address and saying, "Please try some bleep," the affidavit said. So,
wow.
Because we're okay on the show, he said, "Try some shit, please." And so then Viner then enlisted Barris to swat the Wichita gamer. So the gamer he was mad at gave him a fake address. "Try it, buddy. I don't care."
Wow.
And the address was so whatever they said to the police in this swatting incident, I mean, the police, balls to the wall. Evening of December 28th, 2017, 911 caller, told a dispatcher in Kansas, Sedgwick County, of a shooting and possible hostage situation at Finch's address.
Wow.
Dispatchers reported that the caller said he shot his father in the head and was holding his mother and brother at gunpoint. The caller also warned he wanted to kill himself and light the house on fire. This was the call made to the address.
Wow.
Because your in-game character was killed by somebody.
Wow.
So Wichita police went to the home and surrounded it. Finch came out of the house when police arrived, and he was shot, according to the U.S. Attorney, when he dropped his hands while the officers were telling him to raise his hands. So investigators would later learn that the 911 call was Barris calling from Los Angeles, related and other counts. He was related to other calls like this where nobody was hurt. So the third co-defendant, this is now you're going to hate this, has been placed on deferred prosecution.
Wow.
I don't even know what that means, Sharen.
Right?
But it's
no
not
idea.
15 months like Viner gets.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So
If I were that guy's family, the one that was shot and killed.
I'm sure there's a civil suit if that's what you're getting ready to say.
Absolutely.
There's got to be a civil suit, right? There has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this behavior is ridiculous.
Although I don't know if you're allowed to sue the government per se, and police are a part of the government.
No, I don't think. No. I'm thinking a civil suit from Finch's family against all three of these co-defendants and their families,
Right.
for doing this, for this swatting call.
Yeah.
Yep.
People,
it's a game. It's a game.
Right.
And it's the same thing, and this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but I'm going to hang close. Usually the tangents go way out here. I'm going to hang close because we're still talking about games, okay? It's a game.
Right.
This brings me a little bit to Big Brother, which is a game. Remember I said weeks ago, I keep forgetting I want to talk about Big Brother.
Right.
So this is perfect. These people in Big Brother, are they not screened? These people in Big Brother,
They are
do they
screened.
not say, I watch it all the time, I love this game,
Yes.
I'm a mega fan, a super fan,
Yep.
Then they get on the game and they cry. All
the
episode, every
time.
episode. This game is hard. I don't know. Wait a minute, aren't you a super fan?
Wait.
This is BB21. You don't know anything about how this game works? You didn't think
Wow.
you'd get stabbed in the back every single hour of every single
Right.
day?
From the moment you walk into the
Right.
Big
How do you
Brother
not
house.
know that?
Right.
These are games. I needed to segue that. Now I'll bring it back. Getting angry at people on online games is ridiculous. I compare this back to my old radio show. We talked about a lady who killed her husband in real life because they both played the game Second Life, and they were married in Second Life, and he filed for divorce in Second Life. So she killed him in real life.
Wow. Come on.
A game.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm not advocating banning games. I'm perfectly normal. I play games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and
filed
honestly,
for a divorce in the game.
the one
Try
time
it.
when I first got my headset and I hooked it up, remember?
Yeah.
And then, so everyone else in the online game, you could hear, and they were all very mouthy, very rude, crude, ignorant, and they were all about 12. You could tell by their voices. I mean, you know, I don't understand what goes on in people's heads that they get angry over that stuff. Listen, I'm not a very good gamer when it comes to Call of Duties and stuff like that.
Right.
I love those kinds of games because, as Victor will tell you, my son-in-law, I just pull the trigger and won't get off the trigger no matter what. It could be our warship game. It could be a gun game. He says I lay on the trigger. All he hears from me is, and it drives him a bit crazy. So, equally so, I die about 10,000 times
Within the first 5 minutes.
in the first 5 minutes of the game. I'm not out swatting people. Because it's a game, which by definition means it's entertainment. I'm being entertained. I'm happy. I'm done.
Right.
So, I mean, I say kudos because he's being punished, and they all need to be punished. That is correct.
Yes.
Will the gaming community learn their lesson?
No.
I don't know because you just
Because
can't.
they're all 12. They don't know that.
Yeah, they're all 12. That's why they won't. So, it's a game, people. It's a game. All right. So, here's another thing I wanted to bring up. And I don't know. You're a fan of Frankenstein, right? Dr. Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You like that story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, recently, researchers are once again looking for ways to reverse death. And they may have found a solution. A new trial may bring the dead back to life called the re-animating project.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, for this study, researchers will use stem cells as a reset button for the body to erase cell damage and stimulate tissue regeneration. I mean, seriously, it's alive! It's alive!
Oh, my God, and how are they going to be when they come back?
You know, who are we to play God?
Right?
Yeah, is it going to be? Is it going to be Pet Cemetery coming back?
Yeah,
you know what
right? I mean? When I die, do not try it. Don't even try it.
So the trial
Or I will haunt your ass.
The trial will be run by Indian specialist Dr. Himanshi Bansal and biotech companies called Revita Life Sciences and BioQuark Inc. 20 patients are the subjects of this study. They are all brain dead, which is considered clinical death.
Right.
And they're only kept alive through life support. So the test will involve injecting brain stem cells and peptides into their brains bi-weekly over 6 weeks and a series of other treatments, including lasers and nerve stimulation techniques, which have brought patients out of comas in the past. I didn't get this to talk about because I was interested in it. I got it to talk about because I think it's absurd.
Right. It is absurd.
This is as absurd as a couple years ago. I'm relating a lot to my old show tonight. A couple of years ago on the show, I talked about
Why are you doing
I
that?
don't... Well, listen, because I'm connecting dots. So I talked about a guy...
But I wasn't on your other show.
I know.
Are you trying to tell
Because
me
you had
something?
your own show.
Are you trying
You had
to
your
tell
own
me
show that
something?
had better ratings than my show, but you didn't have to bring that up.
Okay.
So I talked about this guy.
No, I didn't. You did.
I talked about this guy who...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
needed a heart
cut you off.
transplant, so he had his heart taken out and a mechanical pump put in place of his heart. Now, he couldn't maintain temperature, so he was always cold. He didn't feel cold because he didn't have a real heart, but his body felt cold. And that was the only symptom. Okay, because it was a mechanical pump in here, connected to his valves and his veins, arteries, and all it was doing was just pumping the blood, which keeps the rest of the body alive. And he lived like this for, I think, a little more than a week before the family decided this really wasn't no way to live.
Exactly.
And they had them, reverse
it
and let him go. But it's, the playing God thing.
Yeah. That scares me.
I think
it really does.
When it comes to death, I think you have to let them go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not trying to do this Frankenstein stuff, mechanical hearts. I mean, you know, I know they're doing great things. They're doing great things with 3D printers. Like they used to use these. They used to use valves from pigs to do valve recovery surgery on hearts. Mm-hmm. Now they're printing flexible valves, you know, in sheets of like 20. You know, that out of a printer, 3D printer that can be used. And also they're printing an entire heart 3D, not to be used, a pliable 3D heart. It's used for surgery practice. So now you have these heart surgeons that are able to cut this open, and it's, you know, because it's 3D printed, it has everything that the real heart has, but they can, you know, work with that in preparation.
Oh well.
You know.
Yeah.
But then it makes you wonder if someday will they be able to use a heart? Like, I don't know. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, if it's 3D, then it's plastic or cardboard.
Well, this is this was squishy when I saw it on the sign channel.
Oh, really?
It was squishy.
Squishy.
You know, like
squishy.
You know, pliable, like pliable, squishy. You know what I mean?
Squishy. I get it. Or squishy.
Yeah, or that. So if it's a transplant, that's one thing. But these things to reverse death is just
right.
Great time of year for that kind of story, but
yeah,
it doesn't make it any more acceptable to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with it, and that's really the only reason why I brought the story by, is because I think it's ridiculous. But you're a fan of Frankenstein. So.
I
and this is
wholeheartedly believe in reincarnation. Okay. That's not what this is.
Oh, no, this is reanimation.
Right.
This is like zombies. This is zombie manufacturing.
I know. Like, what kind of deal would their brain be in?
Well, zombies eat brains.
I know, so...
Do you know what vegetarian zombies eat, right? Or vegan zombies?
I don't know.
Grains!
Oh, my God, people, please help me. Please.
Grains, get it? Grains?
I get it. That was so funny.
I thought it was.
It was.
That's a joke you can tell your kiddies. In fact, Tara, if you're listening, our granddaughter, because, you know, Tara and I like to swap. Now, they're called dad jokes.
Okay.
Because they're corny.
Right.
But they're also simple enough that you can tell a preteen, you know, and they'll laugh.
Right.
So... that's your dad joke for the show.
All right.
So anyway, that really kind of narrows things down to about nothing. You've made it.
Yeah.
You have made it.
I made it.
It is now time for you to feed.
Whoop.
Time now to feed and walk the security system for you.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Come on, security system. Let's go.
And for everybody else, when I come back, I have a new Wombat of the Week. I have Heroes to Honor, and I have one last thing.
All right.
Yeah, so that's all coming up in the home stretch of the show, which is up after this break. And so let's all say bye to Sharen.
Bye, Sharen.
And I'll be back after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is New York's Super Oldies Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
So I use my computer every day. I'm not even sure how I get along without it. But I wasn't prepared for a virus. A Trojan, they called it. One night I'm cruising along, and the next night I can't do anything. I was afraid it was going to cost me a fortune. Boy, was I surprised. They had me back up and running the same day I called them. I really like PC Tech Rescue, and you know what? My wallet likes them too.
Are you troubled by computer problems? PC Tech Rescue should be your very next call. Whether the problem is viruses, hardware, software, or any other issue, they can diagnose your problem and have you back up and running fast. With more than 25 years of industry experience, you can be sure you are getting dependable and affordable service. Call today, 484-429-6061, or email us at pctechrescue@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Joel Michalec Show. This is the third segment of the show, or as we like to call it, the final stretch. I thank you for staying with us and hanging out and subscribing to the podcast. And in this segment, we do a couple different things. One, we talk about heroes, and two, we talk about wombats of the week. If you're a new listener, you'll find out what all this means. And then if time prevails, and usually it does, and once in a while it doesn't, then we talk about one last thing. So it's sort of where I house these three regular segments, although that doesn't mean it will stay like that. I toyed a little bit with the idea of moving the segments around, but not that we've done anything yet. So anyway, that is that, and here we go. So I guess the first thing we usually tackle our Wombat of the Week, sort of start off with a little comic relief. So if you're new to the program, a Wombat of the Week is usually stupid people doing stupid things and winding up in the newspaper. Now, you can get involved in the Wombat of the Week because I'm leaning very heavily on doing a yearly Wombat of the Week, which would be compiled. So far, it looks like the judges would be me and the lovely Sharen, and maybe Molly if she has an opinion. And we take all the Wombats of the week, from the entire year, and we kind of look at them. And first of all, you have to be a real good Wombat to make it to the show. So we might just kind of fold them all up and throw them into a hat or a box or something like that, and then pull them out and call that the winner. I don't know. We'll come up with some way, and we'll actually have the Wombat of the Year awards. And maybe there'll be some runners-up. We don't know. We'll find out as we put this stuff together. So stay tuned for more information on that. And so, as I was saying, you can get involved in Wombat of the Week. Here's how you do it. You can send us a story of stupid people doing stupid things, and you can send it to us at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. You can also send it to wombat@joelmichalec.com. And you can be sure, for the most part, the wombats that are submitted are put through to the show. So, with that being said, we will, as soon as I pull it up here, because I like windows everywhere, like the windows and tabs and windows. And sometimes it can just drive you crazy. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so this week's Wombat of the Week takes us actually to the world of sports. And this one came upon the news desk just last night. And we found it to be fairly amusing enough to put it on Wombat of the Week. And there might be some shades of Jesse Smollett. You remember that story, Jesse Smollett? There'll be a little shades of that in here. So basically, a former NFL player, Edon Lewis Kaufman, who was the owner of a restaurant in Lawrenceville, Georgia, which is about 25 miles northeast of Atlanta, was arrested. He was arrested for destroying his business in an attempt to stake a fake hate crime and burglary, according to police. Kaufman played for several NFL teams from 2012 to 2016, including the Washington Redskins, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Arizona Cardinals. Gwinnett County Police Corporal Michelle Piera told WSB-TV, that's where we get the source of our news this week, they still aren't sure why Kaufman might have targeted his own business. She says, "We don't know if it was a financial motivation or what the case is at this point." A maintenance worker at the shopping center plaza, where his establishment is located, saw someone burglarizing a restaurant about 9:30 p.m. last Wednesday night and called the police. Officers in the area spotted a black truck without a license plate and pulled it over, thinking it could be a possible suspect. It turned out Kaufman was driving the truck. They searched the back of his truck. They found several flat-screen TVs that looked suspicious because the brackets were still attached there and still had drywall attached to the brackets, meaning that somebody ripped them off a wall quickly. So when police arrived at the restaurant, they saw the places where the TVs were likely ripped off the wall, and they said racial slurs like monkey and the N-word and the phrase MAGA were spray painted on the walls. They determined that the black paint was fresh, and it did match the black print and spray paint that they saw on Coughlin's hands. To make matters worse for himself, Coughlin already called his insurance company about the crime. He reported the incident to the insurance company prior to officers conducting the first pullover. So, according to the police, everything for this lined up to be the perfect arrest. Coughlin was charged with insurance fraud, making a false report, and a tag violation for taking his license plate off his truck. So here's the thing, if I may. Your Honor, if I may. So this idiot, Wombat, whatever you want to call him, so he destroys his own business, writes racial slurs all over the place, steals TVs, and tries to get out of there, thinking nobody at all saw him, is watching him, and a maintenance man calls the police when they see something suspicious going on. Now, the real stupid thing here is that he did all this, called the insurance company, and then he gets arrested for performing the crime. So now it looks like it's completely staged. Kind of sounds like Jesse Smollett, remember? So what's going to happen now is the trouble's not over for him. He's in all kinds of trouble for this. But think about this. His insurance company is going to drop him, okay? And then they're going to blackball him to make sure that all the other insurance companies that do this kind of insurance, business insurance, knows that he attempted to defraud his insurance. This is a classic Wombat of the Week. I mean, what a jackass. So he's got all kinds of trouble coming down the line, not just the arrest and not just the fact that he was of making a false report. He's going to have some insurance troubles. Plus, all said and done, he still has to pay for all the repairs and to get everything fixed up himself because he was the one who did it. Classic idiot. So, E. Dawn Kaufman, you, sir, win the Wombat of the Week award here on the Joel Michalec Show for that stupid ass move. Okay, so moving right along, folks, on the program. We also do a very important segment. This is very important to us. Honor Thy Heroes. And you'll find that all over Twitter and social media under the hashtag Honor Thy Heroes. And this is us honoring any and all heroes out there doing that extra special thing. For instance, I would honor the lovely Sharen every week if I could because she's my hero. But unfortunately, you cannot continually take the award. This is not a game show, and you have to eventually leave. You have something to say? You're walking right up to the microphone.
I actually do.
What? I thought you left the show.
Yeah, but I can never just stay away.
Right.
Especially when you talk about such wonderful people.
So what do you want to say?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So what we do is we search high and low, and we also accept donations to the email of local heroes. Unfortunately, a lot of times we don't see local heroes that pop up into small community newspapers. And if you have such a story, we would like to have it. So, today, the hero that we picked today, you may or may not know, but September is a special time for food banks, okay? Hunger Action Month is what September is. September is Hunger Action Month. And this goes on across the United States of America. Okay? So, what they do is local food banks get together and they use this campaign. They're trying to gather money donations, encourage people to help fight local hunger. And so, the Hunger Hero campaign is a way for the local food banks. They're looking for those local heroes. They're looking for thousands of local heroes in all different localities by the end of September. Okay, so now we're going to focus on that for a second, because if you've ever read my blog or known some of the things that I ran about on Facebook, I'm real bothered with the homeless problem in America and the people that go hungry in America, and I always feel like there are things that we can be doing over in this hand to solve that problem instead of putting money in this hand and giving it away to people that do nothing for us. So I wanted to talk about this Hunger Action Month and talk about some ways that you can get involved. Obviously, everyone knows the food bank. The food bank is so synonymous, right? This food bank is so synonymous with hunger. But do you get involved? And not only that, like, the food bank is one. Like, we have the Delaware Food Bank, but there's a lot of other agencies too. There are churches, there are local charities, there are local groups that donate food to the less fortunate, and not necessarily the homeless, because a lot of people donate their time, their money, and food to shelters. And there are churches right around where we are. There are local churches that perform all kinds of charities, including feeding the less fortunate when they need. I have seen them in my own community delivering to people who are on hard times. And in fact, Sharen and I have donated food to local neighbors without the use of a charity or a group when we know people are on hard times. That's what we do. That's what we do as human beings. So, I want to talk about Feed in America. It's a network of food banks fighting hunger across the United States. They use this annual Hunger Action Month and Hunger Action Day, which is September 12th, come and gone at the time of this podcast, to gain awareness of hunger in local communities and to publicize action opportunities. Okay? On Hunger Action Day and throughout the month of September, people can learn about food scarcity and local hunger needs by taking tours of local food banks. You can generate mini food drives in neighborhoods or local groups. You can volunteer. You can donate money. You can sign up online to become a hunger hero. So there's already all these people that work in these groups that are our everyday heroes and honor that heroes this week on the show. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to I'm bringing this up to not only celebrate them as heroes, but say, hey, they want more heroes, and you could be that hero. We're only approximately halfway through the month, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. Of course, it could be Christmas by the time some people are listening to this podcast. But what I'm saying is, it also doesn't have to be in the month of September. Sharen and I have done most of our food charity and seen a lot of the local food charity going on. Not so much in September. We see a lot of the activity closer to the holidays, November through January. So it doesn't, you don't step up and be a hero in September. This is great that there's an awareness for it. But I kind of think that people who are hungry, food scarcity needs to be an awareness all the time, like an everyday awareness sort of thing. And so, on the show for this week, we're honoring these heroes, and I'm hoping that I'm outreaching to you, hoping that, hey, you could help. And that brings us to my one last thing, which is volunteering. Going beyond this volunteering at local food banks, you can volunteer and do a lot of things. And really, if you want to volunteer, it doesn't take much time for you to poke around on the internet or talk to people you work with, find out what kind of organizations are looking for help, and get involved. Sharen and I spent many, many years volunteering in emergency services, on all levels of emergency services. That is a great way to support, to volunteer and support your local community, because you are supporting your local community when they have issues. Accidents, fires, medical conditions, being on standby at certain events, all kinds of different things. And we collectively did that. Collectively, it's like a business, right? We have 50 years in the business. Sharen and I have a combined of almost 40 years of volunteer services between the two of us. in emergency services. So, first and foremost, I think it's real easy to suggest that if you're looking to volunteer, food banks and food organizations that are looking to feed the hungry are a great place to start. A lot of things you can do there on a lot of different levels to participate and do your part. You can even talk to your work about doing a mini food drive, and all you got to do is make arrangements with the local food bank and let them know that you're doing it, because you will be bringing that food to them. They will even suggest, okay, hey, if you're having a local food drive or a mini food drive in your community or in your business office, they'll suggest what they need, because food banks get a lot of donations and they stock a lot of food for shelters and for food banks and different things, so they know what they have and they know what they're going to need. And so it's always good, if you're going to plan something like that, to talk to your local food bank, your local shelters, and find out what their needs are. But it feels really good to volunteer. And we're getting into a part of the year where, with the holidays coming, some people celebrate Christmas, the Christmas holiday season, basically from after July 4th all the way until Valentine's Day. I'm spreading the sarcasm a little thick there, but you know what I mean. July 4th is over, Christmas trees are going on for sale. Some people like that. And so we can all just do our part and a little bit and pay it forward and help people who need it. And it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. You know what it takes? It takes a spark. It takes one person to be a spark and say, let's do this. And get others involved. And then it's a group thing. And then your end result has become so much larger. And that's all it takes. And this is the season coming up where people who work really hard, work in multiple jobs, and still can't make every end meet. And this is the time of year coming in where they could use that extra help. And this is that time of year where you can help them. It just takes that divine spark. And that brings the show for this week to a halt. I mean, not a complete halt. I will sign off. Purposely, I did that pause there. I do want to thank everybody for listening to the program. I want to remind you that the website is joelmichalec.com, or for less exercise on your fingertips, jmtalk.net. Go to jmtalk.net. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast, and I'm very happy for those that do. And I want you to spread the word. If you can't wait for each Sunday when the new episodes drop, then feel free to just click on the 24/7 stream and listen to us all day and night. All you need is a device that has a web browser and an internet connection of some sort. So also visit us on social media. Facebook, it's JM Talk. At Twitter, it's JM Talk Radio. And you can get involved with the conversation and come say hello. Until next time, folks, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and remember, when you're out and about, pick up 3 pieces of trash. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.